Not to mention, I do think those schools are becoming completely different. Like we had BOCES when I was a kid, which like was more or less like the rubber room from what I heard my parents call it. Like the kids that would just like weren't allowed scissors, like, you know, all that shit. Like they just had to stay in one room with like maybe a window. It was the Bobby Kellys of the high school.
Yeah.
Right. I remember taking an industrial arts class in 7th grade, and I quit after 2 days because it was just like this kid named Toby just blasting a staple gun into the air. That I was like, this is too chaotic. Like there was no teacher in there, and we were handling like jigsaws, and I was like, I would just make. We had to do a T-square, and I remember just getting the bigger guy to be like, "Can you cut my wood for me?"
Yeah.
I was like, "This is not for me."
There are
It
a
was
couple
too
kids
wild.
though. There's a couple kids that leave that, and you're like, oh, you belong. Like making high level shit somewhere. Like you're really actually like keyed into this and gifted.
Yeah.
I remember we had this teacher, I think his name was Mr. Berger, but he had like, I mean, glasses no less, like they were this thick for real. And we used to, it was like a telescope.
we
You'd
taunt him religiously.
brutally. And one day he was down there like using the bandsaw, trying to teach somebody something, and like lopped off the majority of his thumb. They like sprayed blood all over several kids.
While you were in school?
Yeah, while we were in
that's
school,
so
like
good.
left the one kid, he's like, all right, you're in charge. He's like, all right. And he just like went to the hospital, didn't alert the school, and it turned into a cigarette period.
Yeah.
Everybody just started smoking cigarettes.
Teachers were so I feel like I think it must have changed a little bit just with like the amount of like litigation. Like just thinking about some of the teachers that we had where it was like very clearly like this person had no business really doing any job.
Totally.
Like
Right.
we had this teacher, Mr. Abrahamson. He was a Spanish teacher.
Oh,
And
Spanish
he-
teachers are the weakest link.
Yeah.
Pits.
He would get blackout
They
drunk
cry.
every day. He would get blackout drunk
Yeah.
every day, and he would nod off, and we would just have the classroom to ourselves for as long. But
Right.
he would be mid lesson at his desk. He'd be like, "Entonces necesitamos," and then literally 45 minutes later, "Los cosas que," you know, like it was just like right back
The
on.
things.
But people would take his car keys out of his briefcase, and they would move his car
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
so that he didn't ever know where he parked.
God.
But he
I
was just
love-
in an alcoholic stupor for like 20 years.
Oh, they're the biggest drinkers. A lot of teachers, I suspect, have drinking problems.
And also teachers
Massive.
used to my teachers in middle school were still allowed to smoke at school.
yeah, they had a smokers lounge, but then in high school they had to walk across the street, and there was we called them green belts, but they were trails in the woods, and you would always catch one teacher just ripping butts
Yeah.
back
Oh
there.
Yeah.
my God. Probably running into kids smoking weed.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just like,
Kind of like a don't ask, don't
let's just
tell.
both
Like,
of us pretend we're
yeah.
not here.
You don't talk, I won't talk.
That, I mean, drinking, it's the old thing where whenever they rolled out the TV, you didn't even realize it, but they were fucking massively hungover.
Yeah.
I had one, my soccer coach and math teacher, it like dawned on me years later that he was just pounding them back. Would just have,
Yeah.
like, he was the most calm dude most of the time, and then would have massive mood swings.
Yes.
Dude, the principal of my high school for like my, I want to say like sophomore and junior year, I got like really bad grades my sophomore year. And so my junior year, I went into his office and I was like, can we fix this? And he like changed all my bad grades so that my GPA went up.
That's awesome.
Like just from talking to him.
what do you
and then,
share from Clueless?
And then the
Yeah.
next year,
Which is a skill in itself.
I used to be,
Sure is.
it's very weird that I ended up how I ended up because I used to be very charismatic.
Yeah.
I could control a lot of situations.
But when I hung out with you this weekend, I was like, you're tenacious.
I am. I do.
With the
Andy
airline
airline
ticket,
thing,
yeah,
He
and you're
doesn't
talking to the Delta lady longer than I thought. I was
Yeah.
like, what's going on?
No, there's
And you're
Andy,
making it
Andy-
work.
Andy has this. I don't know how the proper way to say it, but like he has this like attrition skill where like he can maintain focus and intensity for long enough to break almost any other human being.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that like especially
Softly, like a water dripping.
Oh, yeah. It molds the limestone.
That's how every single one of my relationships has worked. A girl has been like, "I do not like you," and then I've been like, "Watch."
Blop,
In
blop.
a couple months,
It works.
Perfect.
Oh, that's so funny. It's true. It's too true. It kind of hurt in a real way because I was like, that is
But
who
it's
I
a
am.
skill because I
is.
give up so fast. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll wait 8 hours for the next
But I
flight.
will say I'm never
Yeah.
mean to them.
What?
I'm never
No,
mean.
no, you're-
I'm always
there's-
like, hey, what are we going to do to get me on this flight?
Yeah.
And then they're like, we're not getting you on this
and
flight.
you just keep talking.
And then I
Yeah,
go-
you were there for.
Honestly, my kid's sick, you know?
Yeah, you made it work.
It's good that you have that because I never like. I'm go with the flow and I'm like cool to do whatever usually like, and I just started realizing that like other people speak up all the time. Like, why don't I feel comfortable speaking up?
Yeah.
Why don't I feel comfortable even being myself? Like other people seem totally fine being themselves and they're kind of annoying.
Right, and
like-
you can do it in a respectful way.
And even not, where it's just
Right.
like, I'm looking around the world and I'm like, nobody else seems to give a fuck about the imposition they are.
Yeah.
So
Right.
why don't I?
And I need this waiter to like me.
100%.
No.
Exactly. So, dude, I took it out at the exact wrong time this weekend when I was on vacation. I like threw my first hissy fit in a while,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
felt pretty good.
What
But
did you get
that's
out
the
of
worst.
it?
we were leaving a dinner that was, no less than 6,000 a person, and it had like every steak that was, $85 was like the size of a deer shit. So you had to split a fucking musket ball and then order 80 for the table just to be even a
Right.
semblance of full. So we left this place and it was good, it was fun, great time with friends. And we're like, and this kid who I'm friends with, but he's husbands to a girl who I'm friends with and whatever. And he's like, oh, there's another bar we might go to. We're going to be the recon team to check it out. And then everybody else
Thank you.
will follow us. And meanwhile, I left my two best friends back there and I'm going with this new guy who I'm friendly with, but not
Right.
friends with. And so I'm instantly pissed that, and one of my friends is like going through something really serious. So I was like, I want to be with them. Like, I'm not trying to fucking hang with you and find this bar, but whatever. It's across the street. And we go, it's so not across the street, I'm going to bludgeon this dude to death. So we walk like 5 blocks. He's like, it's just 4 or 5 blocks. After I said, it's not across the street. He's like, it's just 4 or 5 blocks.
Yeah, and those blocks are different in Miami.
It's and we're walking through Ray Finkel's neighborhood. It's the scariest fucking place on earth. There's overgrown reeds. It's like some psycho lady being like, laces out. What a sports nut, huh? Like, it's just fucking baffling. And then, and you're walking past Paul Wall and his folk, and like, just
Yeah.
everybody's just, it's terrifying. And finally,
Sarah went
we
to high
like,
school with him.
did you?
Yeah.
Paul Wall?
no, but
the
it's
People's Champ?
Houston.
Oh, yeah. That would be sick if she
Yeah.
did. Damn, I got excited. So we make a right, we make a left, and then finally on the third right and like the 14th block, I go, this fucking sucks.
Good for
like, I had
you.
been holding it in for
Yeah.
years.
And you probably spoke for what a lot of people were thinking.
No, my wife got mad at me.
Oh,
Like his wife was kind of like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Like handling me with kitty gloves. So I understood that
Were you
I
on
was
an
being,
edible?
Did you have low blood
Was I
sugar?
on an edible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes time when you're on weed
You're
can
right.
feel like an eternity.
No, you are right. But I was right. I was right and wrong at the same time. I was wrong for
Gotcha.
how it was like an unkinked hose of a reaction where
I think I would have been in the same boat as you.
I
Yeah.
think a lot
I
of
would have
people
been
would have.
annoyed.
Yeah.
But
was
I also
just-
might have been the guy. I'm a real
You would have
bad.
been the guy.
I'm the guy that lies. Where I'm like, it's 15 minutes and
It's
it's
light.
45 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Well, I threw a fit. This is the worst part, right? Is I throw a fit and then we get there, it's a $15 cover, so I'm instantly like, no, like I don't even drink. I'm not paying to not drink. Fuck
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And so we go, I'm like calling my friends and be like, where are you guys? What are you doing? And as I'm doing that, they're walking up. So
Yeah.
everybody followed. I threw this complete bitch fit for no reason. And then we all got an Uber home because nobody wanted to go there.
wow.
So
Was it awkward with that guy?
no, I apologized right away because I felt like right afterwards, I was like, that was not even for him.
Yeah.
That was for so many other people.
Your
that this had-
children.
yeah,
Nicole,
it was most
Emilio.
Nicole. It had Nicole's fucking name written all over it, but I could only take it out on my new Indian friend Mo.
Ugh.